Welcome, Seville, to the Seville Sports Mentality Show with the Sports Rev and MistaGrub on the 610 Seville Sports Network. We welcome you this week. How you doing, Mr. Grub?
As they say, hello. I'm good, man. I'm on cloud nine. Cloud nine. I know I can't take too much time.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that right now. We don't need to talk about right now. We got plenty of time to talk about that a little later. A little later. See, we don't need all that. We got some good interviews coming your way on today's Seville family. But if you don't mind, please like and share this broadcast on tonight. We have two Coatesville former basketball players who are great. We're looking forward to interviewing these great basketball players in the persons of, coming up in a few minutes, Kisha Middleton will be coming to join us later on today, and Ricky Hicks. We are looking forward to having both of them on today, and then we'll talk a little Eagles football, unfortunately, and then we'll also talk a little Sixers if we have time, and then we're going to give a shout out to our coach, my former Deacon Scoogie Smith, as we'll share a Scoogism on today. So please like and share. And also, if you don't mind, if you're a graduate of Coatesville Area High School, we have what we call our cash check-in. Please type in the chat. You're tuning in what year you graduated. And as we always know, Mr. Grub, give a shout out to the year you graduated. 1995 is in the house. Any other Coatesville graduates, please put in the chat the year that you graduated. We know that some of y'all are watching on a different page. We can't stream live on Facebook to our page yet because we are on 60-day probation, but hopefully that will get here sooner than later so we can all stream on one Facebook page. And also, if you're on your YouTube channel, go ahead and type in the chat. We have some people tuning in. Brother Henry Hank Lewis Jr. is watching. Sister Sylvia Harris, good evening to you. Sister Rita Brown, good evening to you. Sister Kim is in the building representing 1995 with her classmate, Mr. Grub. Brother Hank said, don't forget the class of 1973 is in the building. If anyone else has graduated from CAS, feel free to chime in. Even if you didn't graduate from CAS, let us know that you're tuning in, and we'll love to put you up on the screen to give you some love. This is show 4, and we're looking forward to this show. And also, we want to thank you all for the love that you've been showing the Seville Sports Mentality Show, as well as the 610 Sports Network. Tanika Williams is in the building, class of 98. And I'm not going to talk about that garbage you and Tanika were participating in on my personal Facebook page. I'm not going to talk about that, but we'll address it a little later.
Don't let us win. Don't let us win.
That's the only way the Eagles have a chance is if
you're going to see a sea of green in the pulpits.
It won't be the first time. See, before you joined Passtown, I saw that. We've already seen this story 2 years ago.
It's okay.
And I'm just ready for the rerun. Sea of green, 2 red Kansas City Chiefs uniforms in the building, and you all know what happened at the end. So I'm ready for the rerun. All
right.
Y'all just happy to be at the table.
Hey, Rev, real quick. You asked me how I was feeling.
You did. I did.
You
were feeling good, but you were doing all that extra Eagles feeling good stuff. We got time to talk about that later on.
I wasn't going to chant. I was just trying to tell you I feel good, like James Brown did during the Rocky Balboa movie. You know, when Drago, came in the ring, and then Apollo Creed came in the ring dancing, and he was like, I feel good. And then Drago knocked out Apollo Creed. Matter of fact, he sent him to the upper room.
See, when you
what the Eagles are going to do to KC. I know it's a long story.
See, you all celebrate conference championships. We only celebrate Super Bowl. I mean, I was looking on TV, and y'all all down the Broad Street like y'all won the Super Bowl. I mean, come on now.
That's how we do.
We'll win one more game to celebrate.
That's how we do.
Parades. Y'all used to just happy feeling in the air on Broad Street. I got it. Never mind. On with the show. We got to show some Red Raiders respect to some of our cash athletes this week who had some huge accomplishments. Let's go right into it, and we could listen to more of Mr. Grub shenanigans about the Eagles after our interviews. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's show some Red Raiders respect. And again, we're showing Red Raiders respect to diver Zoe Miles, and we apologize for the misspelling of her name. She qualified for the districts as a diver. Again, we're showing Red Raiders respect to Jack Weldon as he won the 172-pound gold championship at the Battle of the Buck tournament, to his fellow teammate, Andrich. I'm about to butcher that name, S, who won the 127-pound gold championship at the Battle of the Buck tournament, and to Tristan Jackson, who committed to Albright College in Reading, playing his college football there. So big ups to these athletes as we show Red Raiders respect. All right, man, it's time to get into these interviews, and we have two great interviews on today.
Can't wait.
And our first interviewee is one of Coatesville's legends in girls basketball. She was on the very first basketball state championship ever to grace Cash. Also, she went on to play college basketball at Robert Morris. She had a semi-pro league stint. She's been a former collegiate basketball coach, and presently she is an assistant athletic director at an HBCU at Lincoln University. Can you all show some love to Coatesville's own, and may I show some bias to Passtown's own, Kisha Middleton? Come on, send up some hearts, send up some likes for Kisha Middleton. All right. And Kisha, if you don't mind, unmute your mic so we can talk to you. There you go. How you doing, Kisha?
I'm good. I'm real good.
All right. We are so glad to have you join us on the Seville Sports Mentality Show, as you're one of our Seville Sports Legacy interviews on today. And you are making history for the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Do you know how?
How?
Here's how. You are the first female interview that we have had on this show. So Seville, show some love. History is being made on the Seville Sports Mentality Show, as Kisha Middleton is the first female former athlete that we've ever interviewed on the show. So you can put that on your resume.
I like it. I'm going to add it too.
All right, Mr. Grub, go ahead on and give Sister Middleton our first question.
I got kind of lost there because I'm sorry, I'm about to deflect again, but Kisha, I'm so glad you're on the show. Whether you're the first woman or the first whatever, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you can make it, and I'm glad you're feeling better also.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We're gonna go with the first question, Kisha. Obviously, I know what it was, but what was it like for you growing up in Coatesville?
I loved it. I feel like Coatesville was like one of the best places possible to grow up. Being a young female, I think kind of like got the best of both worlds playing sports. Coatesville is full of love. I mean, despite what some people may think, how some people may feel, Coatesville is a loving place. Everybody's family. People always loved you there. I mean, you learned how to be tough. You learned how to be caring. Just learned how to be a great individual. And I think this helped with life, period, growing up in Coatesville.
Now, we know that you were a baller. So obviously, before you got to playing basketball at Cash, you had to play some ball before then. So when did you start playing basketball? And who taught you how to play basketball?
Well, first of all, I was trash. I could talk about my own self. I was at my uncle's house and I was like kind of shooting at a basket. My grandpa asked my dad, could I play? He said, no, she can't. And I couldn't. I was throwing the ball over the basket. So I was probably about, I don't know, maybe like 8, 9 years old. So I kind of started there when my grandfather asked. My dad kind of got me into it. And that's kind of how it started. But I was bad for a long time.
So who fine-tuned your skills? Like who were some of your influences to help you develop to being a better basketball player?
I want to say my dad. My dad took a lot of time with me. And some of the older young ladies from the Coastal area team, people like Lynn Ross, Terry, some of those people. Even though it's our rivalry down in town, got to thank people like Tora Suber. You know, it was battles on the court though, but I appreciate some of them. And honestly, the streets, like the courts on the streets, like if you could play there, you could play anywhere. So I definitely respect everybody that took the time to let some of us girls, quote unquote, play with them. So learned a lot on the outside courts.
Before Mr. Grubb asks you this next question, where are some of those courts that you learn how to play the game?
Haytime, Rock Run, down at Ash Park, 9th Avenue. That was most of them. Then sometimes we would go down to Philly, go play a couple other places. But like wherever we can go, it didn't matter. Any type of ball, any type of court, we go play.
All right. Mr. Grubb?
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased, Kisha, too, because I was 95. You were 95 too, right?
96.
You see, you were younger than me. So you're 96, and that 94 team we watched. So you mentioned Tina. I'm sorry, Rev, but you mentioned Tina and Tora and Lynn Rawls and Terry. What was her last name? Johnson?
Johnson, yep. Uh-huh.
So you mentioned those girls. So back then, we used to go watch the girls' games, man. That's how interesting it was back then. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But,
good times.
We're going to get to that in just a second, you know.
I'm sorry, man. Listen,
Mr. Grubb, go ahead.
I love that whole team. My cousin was on that team, Jennifer.
So I
got connections to this team. So
we'll get to cousin.
I love the
Stick to the script. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stick to the curriculum. Kisha, what other sports did you play besides basketball?
I played field hockey and I played volleyball.
That's right. I remember field hockey. Yeah.
I played volleyball.
Y'all actually had a field hockey team at Cash?
They did. So I stopped playing field hockey when I got to high school. Miss Tally, I love her. I hope she see it, but she really wasn't having that because field hockey is a rough sport. But so I ended up playing volleyball with Miss Wallace, and that was a great experience with her.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you this question. So the WNBA was not big when you were growing up. Matter of fact, it became a thing in the 2000s. So what basketball players growing up influenced you?
I was old school. Like I used to like Dr. J. My dad took me to a couple of Sixers games. Like I just loved that. And I wore 21 in college because I was a Kevin Garnett fan. Like I might have been small, but I felt like I had that dog type of personality. So that was the reason why I liked KG. And I just like to watch good players or whatever. And like I say, even local people that played well, I like to watch them. So it didn't matter if anybody was good and had talent. That was I like to emulate some of the things after them.
So who are some of the female basketball players, local or national, that you sought to emulate your game after?
Like not really emulate though, but I think like watching like Cheryl Swoops, like Rebecca Lobo, like meeting some of them. Like I say Torrentina because they were some of the first ones that were part of WNBA when it first started. So seeing them out in front, you know, and watching them play, like I said, we Downtown Coastal, you know, that's a rival though, but just having those type of females in front of you to watch whatever was great.
All right, take us to Cash, Mr. Grubb.
Yeah. Kisha, what was it like playing? I was trying to steal Rev's question, but I'm sorry. He done call me out, man. What was it like playing at Cash? Tell me a little bit about the girls you played with at Cash, too.
Oh my, let me tell you, I love all of them. I hope they all watching right now. It's nothing that I don't think none of us wouldn't do for each other. It was a special team, like 1 through 15. What we was gonna do, we was gonna be together. It didn't matter what it was. And even like now, somebody needed some, we would get together and do it or whatever. It was special. Sometimes I think to win championships, you have to be you don't have to be friends, but you have to like each other off the court. And we had that. Our families was close knit. So it was a really big family. Until this day, like I said, I love all of them. But and playing at Cash, like it was nothing like it. I mean, we sold out gyms. Like you said, people traveled everywhere. It was kind of unlike it was unreal like high school basketball. And it was just nice to have gyms packed out, you know.
Especially girls basketball.
Yeah.
I think y'all might have had bigger crowds than we did.
We did. Sure. We still loved y'all though, but we did. Yeah.
Because and because when we came back, because Kershey came back in '95, and Quentinfield was '94, and that transition, we weren't winning the Chestnut championships.
Yeah.
For a while. So y'all had the crowds. We didn't have the crowds. We had some good players, but we didn't have the crowds.
Well, they won the state championship. Huh? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kisha. Go ahead.
No, and I'm like, you never really get the chance to do it, but all the fans, all the people, like all the love people that travel, like just a true thank you. Like 20-some years later, just want to thank Coatesville as a whole for just like being how supportive they was. I mean, there's no fans like Coatesville. Like the Red and Black Attack is real life. Like I love that.
All right, Kisha, I got to correct you real quickly. Because you tried to shave 10 years off your life. It's 30 years later.
I heard that.
We're getting old.
I said 20-some. I was close to like 29, 30. I know.
Yeah. We're right about 30 this year.
I know.
You're about to celebrate your 30th anniversary winning the state championship. Let that sink in. All right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that MistaGrub was not a draw back in when he was the captain of the team? Everybody was going to see the girls, and they didn't want to see MistaGrub in his goggles?
I wasn't the captain then. My senior year was the captain.
That's the year they won. What year did y'all win the state?
94.
94.
Oh, you were a sophomore?
I was, yes.
Okay. All right. So it wasn't MistaGrub's senior year. Okay. So that was I ain't gonna chew you like that. Go to the next question.
See how you do me? You see how you do me?
You got another question?
Oh, I thought it was your turn.
Go ahead.
Caught me off guard. So what made you attend Robert Morris to play basketball, college basketball?
It's a candid answer. I mean, it's the truth. Some people know, some people don't. My brother had got killed during the year, and I had like other schools was after me, but I actually didn't want to go to school. I wasn't going to go to college. I didn't want to play volleyball. I didn't want to play basketball, whatever. But my family, they was like, just take a chance, and that was like one of the schools that was still offering scholarships and things of that nature. And I mean, you can't beat a full ride, so I just kind of went with it, and that's how I ended up there. It was like the number 4 business school in the country. So it was a decision of either let life go left or right or whatever. So that's how I got there, though. It was one of the best decisions I made, probably.
Julius Gray is in there and said you was a monster on the court.
That might be cousin love right there. I don't know. That's why.
Well, let's. I
thought he was telling me I was a monster.
No. No. We can't talk about folk who are on the bench as monsters. No, I'm just playing. But go ahead.
I was 7th man coming off the bench my junior year. I got in there, but we had some greats in front of me. So
they had a 7th-man award. No, I'm just playing.
No, it was wait till next year, buddy.
hey, but you made the team. That was a big thing in Cash, from what I hear. So you, because like Cash, it's the pro team in Coatesville, so that's big stuff. So, brother Julius said you were a monster on court. What was your specialty? Like, what was your niche as a basketball player?
I can shoot the 3. That's for sure. 1 thing's for sure. 2 things for sure. I'm gonna knock it down. Yep.
So, or were you a corner 3 person, top of the key? Because, I was a shooter as well. So I know typically we like to have certain parts of the court where we like to get our shots off.
Like almost anywhere, but I give a shout out to Jen Worthington. She was one of them. She set a nice screen on the block for me, and I like to go out right to the corner and go hit one. Yeah, so I appreciate her.
So you must have had the nickname because in the chat, I'm seeing multiple people call you the Mad Bomber.
Huh? Yeah, there go my sister right there. Talking about Mad Bomber. Yeah,
That was your nickname?
Yeah, yep.
Mad Bomber, Tanika Williams. Asia said anywhere on the floor, she was good. So are you trying to tell me you had Steph Curry range or Caitlin Clark range?
You know, before there was Steph, there was no. I'm just playing.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to Robert Morris. Sorry. So what lessons about basketball or even about life did you take away from your experience at Robert Morris?
That you can make anything happen anywhere. I didn't have the greatest 4 years there. I think experience wise, and I'll be honest, I mean, it's a predominantly white institution. People are good to you there, but sometimes they don't understand what we've been through and kind of trials and tribulations or whatever. But when you have an opportunity to do something and possibly change your life, like you do it. And I've met some amazing people there that I'm still friends to this day. One of my coaches, you know, I still talk to her, like, God bless her. She was, you know, she was heaven sent or whatever, but you can do what you want to do and you can get it done anywhere. So that's kind of what I took from there. And honestly, and people are going to be people and you have to know where to place people at. And there's some stuff that happened that was bad or whatever, but it was a life lesson of how to not treat other people. You know, I learned how not to treat people by being there as well, though. But I wouldn't trade the experience for anything.
Last basketball question, then we'll shift into some other fields that you've been in post basketball. But how was it playing semi-pro basketball? How did you get into that?
I still wanted to play a little bit. My one sis on here, she played on one of the teams with me. They still want to get it done. And there's a couple guys I know, Marty Eggleston, a couple other guys or whatever. They had some teams in Delaware and the Philly area. So they put us on and we started playing. I enjoyed it. And sometimes we practiced with the men's team and stuff like that. So it was a great experience to just keep being able to play a little bit longer.
Yeah. Ms. Grub.
So Kisha, we know a little bit about you were coaching. You had some coaching experience, and now you're currently the assistant athletic director at Lincoln.
My title's changed up, but I got yeah.
Yeah, so we linked up probably a couple years ago. You had reached out to me to do an event for you. I think it was student athletes coming back to school.
Yes.
And you asked Mr. Grub to. So when I finally saw you, one of the things that I noticed was you were so like polished as a professional. I just want to tell you that I'm very proud of you. You know, I'm very proud of you of where you're at now and what you endured. Before I finish up this question, I wanted to get that in.
You also gave a plug for your show, for your business, so that means you just paid for sponsorship. But go ahead on.
I ain't mad. The burgers was good. The kids ate all of them.
So with the question, Mr. Grub, we got to get the question. What's the question?
All right. So what made you go from coaching to become an athletic director?
Coaching, it's collegiate coaching. It's a tough life. I mean, you know, you're on the road a lot, you're recruiting, you're 24/7. You're generally, even though they're young adults, whatever, you're still watching after them. You got practice. If you got practice at 5:30 in the morning, you're up at 3:30 in the morning. And I don't mind being candid. Sometimes it's hard to have personal relationships because you're on the road all the time. You work during the summer, you're recruiting. It's tough, and I kind of wanted to change. I'm like, in my mind, I feel like I could coach. Like, if I want to do it, I can do it. But I wanted to know, like, if administration wasn't for me. So when I got the opportunity to go on the other side, I took it to see what it was like, and I'll probably never go back, not unless I coach high school. But coaching college ball is a whole nother beast.
So let me ask you this: you've spent a lot of time at Lincoln. You were assistant coach at Lincoln, athletic director. What's your new title?
I'm associate athletic director for competitive excellence, senior woman administrator, and also currently assistant compliance officer.
All right, so you got 5 jobs. But with that being said, what is it like working in the capacities that you've worked at an HBCU? What are some of the great things? What are some of the challenges?
I working at HBCU has been great. Like I said, since I went to a PWI, I felt like I could be somebody that I didn't have during my years there. For them to have somebody to talk to, things of that nature, and being at HBCU, like people generally care about your well-being, how it is after school. Like just want you to be like good adults and make a difference in the world, though. But I like what I do, and the fact that I'm like in administration now, I feel like I make a bigger impact because I'm a part of all the student athletes, and not just student athletes. I know other kids on campus, do other things, whatever. So I feel like the impact is much larger that I'm able to give now, and I just wouldn't trade it. Like it's special, and some days are hard. I mean, every day is different. You have tragedies and things of that nature. You have some great days, but just being able to help people like that's the end goal, just to be better people.
And let me just add this, and Mr. Grubb, if you got one more question before we do Red Rapids Fire, get ready to fire it up. But let me just say thank you for the difference that you're making. You gave me the opportunity last year to speak for the sports banquet, and I just saw the love that the students had for you. You're very impactful. It's obvious that you care about them, not just as athletes, but as people, and you care about their futures. And I just want to give you a big shout out for the work that you're doing, because I've been able to see up close and personal the effect that you've had on the young people.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Ms. Grubb.
So last thing, Kisha, I just wanted to say, me and Rev's relationship, we're getting closer. It might seem that we butt heads and we don't get along, but I love the guy, man. You can't help but love the guy. So real quick, I usually do all the bookings for the show. I bring the people to the show. I bring the people to Coastal Sports Network. And this time, Rev said, hold on, wait a minute. Levi, it's my turn. I'm bringing Kisha on. I said, what? Wait. So I'm going to tell you something that you might not know. You're going to be back on the show pretty soon. You're going to be back on the show in February, but you're not going to be alone. Okay. We are going to have the 94 Coastal Girls State Championship team on our show.
Oh, that's love.
I already talked to Renee, or Miss Tally, Coach Tally.
Yeah.
Rev knows about it. It's going to be big. And
that's love, yeah.
We can't wait till you come back.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that for sure.
Right. So to you and thank you.
So that's great news. But I need to ask you something, Kisha. Did they teach y'all how to ask questions in English? That wasn't a question.
That's funny.
Nevertheless, we appreciate that, Ms. Grubb. I got to mess with you. I know you still try to get your feet wet. I got to mess with you when I can. But big ups to Mr. Grubb for lining that up, and we're looking forward to that. Now, we got to get you out of here with what we call Red Raiders Rapid Fire. Now, we didn't prepare you for this, so I'm just going to give you one. I'm going to share something, and you only can answer in 1 to 3 words. First thing that comes to your mind, as long as it's clean. All right? All right. No long sentences after 3 words. I'm going to hit the mute button on you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So whatever first comes to your mind, here it is. You ready?
Yes.
Coatesville.
Love.
Hey, Ty.
Kisha.
Okay. Passtown.
Nothing like it.
Rock Run.
My dad.
9th Avenue.
Tournaments.
Cash.
Best high school.
That's 3 words. Okay. Girls basketball state championship.
The greatest.
Toya Brickens.
My point guard.
Robert Morris.
Life lesson.
Lincoln University.
Another life lesson.
CIAA.
Come out. Come out.
And last but not least, your parents.
I love them. Nothing like them.
Well, we appreciate you joining us on today's show. We thank you for indulging our questions, also indulging MistaGrub soliloquies that didn't make questions, and also our Red Raiders rapid fire. But can y'all do me a favor? And can you do MistaGrub a favor? Can you do the Seville Sports Mentality Show a favor? Can y'all show some virtual love to one of Coatesville's greatest, Kisha Middleton, a state basketball champion, doing big and great things post-cash. So thank you so much, Kisha, and we look forward to having you next month.
For sure. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, it's our pleasure. Give it up again to Coatesville's own Kisha Middleton. All right. Here's the love. Love you, Kisha. Sister Vandora Brickens, Sister CB Jones, awesome job, Kisha. Sister Tara Man, great interview. Cal W, ha ha ha. Age Anderson, let's go, sis. And we appreciate all the love for Kisha Middleton. All right.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We got one more great interview coming up in just a few minutes. We're going to give us a chance to breathe a little bit, because we got Brother Ricky Hicks backstage ready to come. Real quickly, Mr. Grub, let's try to do this in 2 minutes before we bring Brother Ricky in. And I had to give you a timetable. 2 minutes. But we know that the Coatesville boys basketball team won a game last week, lost a big one on Saturday to York. You were actually at the game. I watched it online. What were your thoughts about that game that they lost this past Saturday?
Oh man, it was a roller coaster, man. I mean, Coatesville came out. They started out strong, and I think they were up maybe 6 or 8 points in the beginning. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, man, Central York is ranked number 3 in the state. It's going to be a tough game, but I know that the Coatesville Red Raiders boys basketball team has some guns on the team. I think a couple of the players had some butterflies, which is natural. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, those butterflies went away. Colton Hiller led the team with 23 points, and Larry Brown had 16. My folks had 16, and Larry Brown came up with 15.
No, you had it right the first time.
I'm sorry. So, but in my opinion, Rev, there's some things they need to work on. Get straight. But in the end, it's always good to have a tough loss like that, man, because they're going to learn from it. It was a big game. The gymnasium was packed. It was packed. So that big moment is going to help prepare them for the upcoming Chestnut playoffs and the district playoffs, and they're just going to continue to grow. I got all the faith in this team that they're going to make some noise this year.
I'm going to give 30 seconds commentary. I saw it online.
Yes.
They are fit to make a championship run.
Yeah.
I think playing a team like York, who has a championship pedigree, will help them stay focused, help them understand it's the little things that they have to focus on, such as making good entry passes into the post that cost them 2 possessions down the stretch. I think Larry's going to have to make the adjustment to understand his own strength. He's used to bouncing off players. Now players are bouncing off him, and he has to learn how to play stronger because he got a couple of offensive fouls because of not knowing his own strength right now. And they just got to play smart basketball in key moments. But they are fine.
Also,
and I think they're going to
baseline, Rev.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to make a good run. So we're looking forward to seeing what they do tomorrow. I think they play Downingtown, East or West. Which one?
I just saw Downingtown. I'm not sure. I think it might be East.
Okay. So we'll be there to cover the game on tomorrow. With that being said, we got to show Kisha's Mama Middleton some love. She was watching her baby in her interview. Her teammate and former church member, Tanika, is showing some love. And Cal, she says, I love the show, guys. Appreciate you. Ricky Middleton, great interview. We appreciate you. And
Ricky.
Passtown proud. I know that's right. Sister Middleton, so glad to have you. And it's West, down in town, West tomorrow. Thank you so much. And it's our pleasure to show Kisha some love. And we're just so glad she was able to do the interview with us on today. So with that being said, we're going to transition into our second Seville Sports interview on today. We have one of Cash's best point guards to ever come through Coatesville, an all-Chestmont player, the all-time assist leader for Westchester University, a three-time all-conference performer. He was an assistant coach on the 2001 Boys State Championship basketball team, a Westchester University Hall of Fame inductee, Chester County Hall of Fame inductee, the personal trainer of NCAA and NBA great Rip Hamilton, and now an assistant coach on this year's Coatesville boys basketball team. Coatesville, will you all help me welcome Mr. Coach Ricky Hicks to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Show him some love. What's going on, Brother Ricky?
Everything's good, man. How y'all doing this evening?
We're doing great, and we got to thank you for joining us. We know that you were on the West Coast. You came from California all the way to Coatesville to be with us on the show tonight. And we got to thank you. I'm sure there's a little jet lag going on, 3-hour difference, but we're so thankful that you're joining us on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Grub, let's get it started.
What's going on, Rick Hicksy? Good to see you. Glad you're on the show, man. So what for you, what was it like growing up in Coatesville?
Well, it was love. I mean, Coatesville within itself was love. My family was love. It was a lot of togetherness. You know, where I lived at, I lived up at the Oak Street, so we was all family living in one place. Everybody up here was like family, so it was love.
So, up on that question, Rev, Ricky, you mentioned Oak Street. There's kids probably on the team right now. They don't even know what that is. You know, they tore down the projects, man. I never lived up there, but I used to go up there to get my hair cut from Cliff, right? And it would always be at night. And I would run from Virginia Avenue up to Oak, right? But walking through those, you know, like it was like tunnels, man. It was scary.
Hallways.
And I finally get to Cliff's house and get my hair cut.
Hallways.
Yeah, man. And then I would come shoot. You know, I was in your room sometimes, you know, getting a couple things. But Oak Street, you know, what my question is, Rev, I'm sorry.
I was wondering. I need to know who your English teacher was because we're struggling with the questions. It's almost like you want to be interviewed rather than the.
You know I do, but Rick, you know it's hard for me. Okay, well, this is the question, Ricky.
What is the question? Thank you.
How was it?
See what happens when you go off script. See what happens. Somebody type in the chat. Tell your neighbor, stick to the script. Tell your neighbor, stick to the script.
Listen, hey, Ricky. Go ahead. So I asked you how was it growing up in Coatesville, but I really want to know from you, how was it growing up at Oak Tech, and how did that mold you in becoming the person you are today?
Well, I mean, Oak Street, like I said, it was family, but you had to be tough. Like, I mean, you really had to be tough because you're living in the projects. You know everybody, and most of the times with competing in anything, you usually get into an argument, you usually get into a fight. You could be fighting your best friend one day, and you know, and 2 hours later, you could be going to the store with them. So you had to be tough. You definitely had to be tough, and that's what made me tough, mentally and physically.
So, bro, Ricky, I've heard many people come on this show. This is our fourth show, and they talk about being tough. What is being tough? What was being tough like for you? What did that mean to be tough?
So being tough is like every day you walk out of your house with your friends, you might have to go to the body. I mean, you're gonna be challenged. Like everything you do is challenged. And you know, when you get to the challenge thing, like you ain't better than me, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you know what the next word is in a conversation like that is, right?
Yeah.
Next conversation is, well, what we gonna do or bet it. So you had to either bet it or the next thing that happened was you probably was in a little wrestling match or a little going to the body. I mean, that was a regular thing up here.
All right, let me show. Julius Grace said, "My bro, Muggy Bogus." Some more love from YouTube. Hicks, much respect. From Kisha, true Seville legend. Quincy Till, my guy all my life too, had no picks who he took under his wing. All right, man. So the people from Seville are definitely showing you love. You were a point guard. So I'm a basketball head. Who were some of maybe the local point guard influences or basketball influences that you patterned your game from or learned the game from, or even some of those NBA, NCAA players that heavily influenced you as you were coming up?
Well, I just can remember going down to, well, not even going down to Ash Park. We had a basketball court up Oak Street on top of the hill. And I can remember being maybe fifth grade, if that, and playing with the adults. And just, it was three guys that was young. Let me say two to be familiar. Me and Anthony Hogarth was probably like the youngest two. And we had a guy that would pick, who loved him, and a guy who loved me. So we was always picked in the top three. You could have 25 old heads up here. We was always picked because we had guys that loved how we played.
So who was some of those? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And at that age, that's big to be out there with the older guys.
So who are some of the older guys that you may have played with that you like, you know what? I like what they do. I might want to borrow some things from their game.
Well, I mean, my brother was probably one of the greatest shooters, Chuck Brewer. He could shoot. And, you know, growing up in the house with him, I mean, you had to idolize him. Not just him. You had, like, Monk Jones. You had guys that kids don't even know the name of these days, like that was flat out getting it. When I say getting it, like, was buckets. You know what I mean? Had a guy named Dave Flowers who was probably one of the ultimate point guards out there. But, I mean, in my household, a family of 7 of us, mom and dad, our nights were sitting at the front room watching the Sixers. And I'm watching Maurice Cheeks. I didn't know I really had to be a great shooter till I got older because I did everything Maurice Cheeks did. You know, Maurice Cheeks was never a great shooter, but he did everything else well. So as I got a little older, I said, oh, I got to shoot. I got to learn how to shoot because I did everything else. Play D, pass the ball, everything else, toughness. Then I had to learn how to shoot.
Let me just add a little caveat because you made a very good point because as you know, the game has changed greatly, especially from the point guard position. You grew up when point guards were the key distributors. Now, on many teams, they are the main scorers. So how do you like that adjustment between when you played, when point guards are supposed to be more distributors, especially feed the big man, versus now they're asked to be more scorers?
I like it because it's a little bit more accountability. But if you got a point guard that's just looking to score and not run his team, you don't got a chance of winning.
Fair
you don't got a chance of winning. You got to, I mean, a pure point guard that can score when he needs to score is what you're looking for.
Gotcha, Mr. Grubb.
So I'll be honest with you, and I'm not going to deflect anymore, but Ricky, I lost my questions for you, but I found them, right? So I was just winging it, man. But you mentioned playing up Oak at the court, right? With the old heads when you were younger. See, I remember playing down at Ash Park with the old head, which was you, Hogarth, Ant Hogarth, Leroy, Bebe, those type of guys. And Ant would always pick me up. I was a young guy, right? And y'all was playing, you know, for some penny candy, right? So Ant would put me up. And at the end of we win. I get 15 pieces of penny candy, right? So those are the type of things that I remember that you guys passed down that was taught to y'all. But y'all passed it down to guys like me, Quincy, Bus, Uga, guys like that, Shaddy. Those are the things that y'all passed down, and it's a shame that it's not like that today. If you understand what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I think times has changed. I think it's a lot of things that come into factor as far as change. But if you love basketball, it don't change. You know what I'm saying? If you really love it, you can see internet, computers, all this other stuff that came in. But the real guys who love basketball. They're gonna find their time to get their work done.
Yeah, but it's definitely something to be said for when you're playing in those games and you're a young buck and you're playing against the older guys. Because I remember when you would come, you were a true point guard. But if you were on a fast break, I remember the first time making contact with you. You were like a bowling ball, and it hurt. I was surprised. I was taller than you. I was young, but I was taller than you. But you had so much, and you had court vision. You had basketball IQ. All right, I'm done, Rev. I'm done falling over Mr. Ricky Hicks, man. But that's my guy, man. That's my guy. You know,
You might as well do
ask a question.
You might as well do a Ricky Hicks documentary. The way you going.
I would if I could.
Well, go ahead and start working on it because you taking about 5-7 minutes of the interview talking about what you remember about him. So we're gonna push you to put the documentary together. But let's go back to the questions. How was it playing at Coatesville?
It was amazing, and I'm saying it was amazing because as a young kid in 5th grade, watching my older brother make it to the States, and my mom taking us to the games in 5th grade, and be right there and the loud crowds, and like you're like, man, I can't wait. So when you get that opportunity, you take it and you run with it. Like football was my first love. I mean, I was good at football. I love football. It's something about when I touched that basketball, it was so natural. You know what I mean? But you wait your turn. You wait 7th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade, and every year they told me as I was growing up, oh, he's good in 7th grade, but he's too little. He won't do it in 8th grade. 8th grade, oh, he's too little in 8th grade. He won't do it in 9th grade. All the way through. All the way through. That was my made me hungry. Got to college, everything stopped. Everybody stopped talking about it. Everything stopped. Like, yo, this kid is really doing it. Like at that point, I knew I had achieved something.
What was your greatest accomplishment as a basketball player at Cash?
I mean, I would say me or the team.
You personally?
Probably having an assist record. Probably having an assist record.
And what do you wish you would have accomplished at Cash now as you look back in the past?
Just when we made it to the district finals, but just maybe winning a state championship. I mean, I competed, so I always wanted to win. At 2nd, 3rd place was never good for me. Still ain't. I'm still bitter about last year's Coastal team. I talk about it every chance I get when we talk about Coatesville, how we should have probably won the states last year.
Gotcha. Now let me take you to your college career. You played at Westchester University. How did you get to Westchester University, and what was that experience like playing at that school?
Well, coming out of high school, near the latter part of the high school, near the end, I got a job at Lucas. So I was working at Lucas, and I kind of liked school, but I wasn't a real big school guy. And I had a couple offers to play basketball. And I remember the guy, he was coaching at Textile. He was assistant coach, Dick Delaney. He got the job at Westchester on a Monday. On a Tuesday, he was down in Coatesville to see me. So need to say I was his first recruit. And I had talked to other coaches, and they was like, well, you know how they give you the whole song and dance? And he came in, he was so direct. This is my program. I want you to run my program. You're going to be my first recruit. I mean, he was so like, you. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I was like, if I go anywhere, I'm going to Westchester. But I was working at Lucas. And, back in the day, you making money.
Yeah.
Lucas was one of the biggest jobs then.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I know I don't like school, but I will take struggling if I have to in school to play basketball. And that's where my decision came down, playing basketball.
Right quick, one more question, Mr. Grub. So You obviously chose basketball over working.
Yes.
And I'm sure it was tempting to keep making that money rather than going to school. So what would you say to an athlete who might be in a similar situation? What advantage is there to choose school over making immediate money?
You get to live. You get to live your dream. And basketball was always a dream. I'm still living basketball through the kids, through my kids. Basketball will always be a part of my life. You know, I had chances to do some things with go some other places when my son was younger and I had that younger team, and I chose not to because I felt like if I didn't stay where I was at, some of them kids wouldn't have made it. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and I could have went to some big places back then, but I said, nah, I'm gonna stay here because I know the difference I'm making. So when it comes down to it, basketball and dealing with kids, I've always been an educator. Ever since I graduated, I've been working with different programs. My job always been dealing with kids. God has given me a gift, and I'm using it to the platform.
Nice. Ms. Grub?
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck because he just kind of answered my question, but it's okay. I will tell you an experience I had with Ricky. So Ricky had said to me one time, you know, meet me down at Ash Park at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I laid in the bed. It's probably Saturday morning or during the week, during the summer break, not knowing he had about 5 or 6 or 7 kids down there that he's training. This is back in like 92, 3, 4, I don't know, maybe earlier than that. But he answered the question because I was going to ask Ricky, like, you know, like some people that don't know Ricky or heard of him, they know him as Rip's trainer. You know what I mean? But they don't know him for the things, even outside of basketball, that he did for the city or for the youth in the city. So I want to give you your flowers right now. Because I feel that sometimes you were passed up, or not passed up, but not recognized accordingly. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that we had you on the show, because you are Coatesville. You are a staple of Coatesville. Not even just the accolades on the basketball court, but the things that you've done for kids that go unnoticed, you know, and that you don't brag about. We're sure you don't have to be on the sideline assistant coach for Tootie. You know, I'm sure you don't have to do that, but you keep finding yourself coming back to Coatesville and contributing, not just talking. You're putting it in action. So I just want to tell you, brother, I appreciate you, and a whole lot of other people appreciate you. And don't stop, because we need people like you. You and Rev, too. You too, Rev.
Thank you.
I still ain't get to the question. I know.
So, yeah, that's okay. I'll get to the question.
I don't need a question because he's going to answer it anyway.
You keep being Les Brown, the motivational speaker. I'll be the question.
That's my guy.
That's
my guy. You had your guy. This is my guy.
So Mr. Grub is Les Brown today. Please book him so that he can make a living on being a motivational speaker. He will speak life into you. So book him real quickly. On to the questions. But I appreciate you showing Brother Ricky some love. I'm going to take him back to the question.
Hold on, Red.
No. Hold on. You gave your motivational message. Hold on, let me get the question.
He does not mind going over 30 minutes.
No, I got you.
I want him to respond to that.
Please, what's that?
When we were talking.
He wanted you to respond to the motivational word he spoke over you.
Yes.
No, I appreciate that, because sometimes I ain't gonna say people forget, but some people don't know until they hear one of those people speak about, when I was young, this guy did this for me. Yep. Didn't ask for anything. This guy took me here. I mean, you hear Shaban Tools talk. This guy walked me out senior night in high school and senior night in college. Like, when you hear guys say stuff like that you've been dealing with, it means a lot. I don't want anything. Just want to make sure people get what they're supposed to get. Even if they don't have it, if I can help them, I'm trying to help them.
Let me ask you this. And this is going to be a question, not a soliloquy. No, I'm just playing with you, Mr. Grub. What would you say is your life's purpose?
Honestly, I don't know what my life purpose was. I'll be honest with you, but I know what my mom and dad instilled in me. And what they instilled in me is it's okay to help people. It's okay to tell people you love them. And not only is it okay to show them and tell them, it's okay to just embrace them because it's important. That's what's missing in the world. You know, and my mom showed that, like my dad showed that every day. So it was easy for me and my sisters and brothers to pick up on. I mean, my sisters and brothers, they do the same thing I do. I got four sisters and 2 brothers.
Well, you just spoke your life's purpose very succinctly.
Yes.
And in the church world, we call it, you got the gift of helps.
Yep.
Easily. And how, you know, Mr. Grub has shown, even I've been joking with him, he's been showing how you've helped him. You shared how you've helped others. And one of the things that's probably a blessing is that you're not seeking to help people for the limelight or to show people that look at what I'm doing, but that's just innate in you. And that's very much to be applauded for the spirit that you have behind the helps. Let me take you back to the basketball court real quickly, and then we're going to do Red Rapids Fire. We love, and I mean Mr. Grub and myself, we love James Scoogie Smith. It's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this show, to keep his memory alive. He made a major impact in Mr. Grub's life. He had a major impact on my life as a deacon in the church, and you had an opportunity to be at the homegoing celebration where I had the opportunity to eulogize him. But on the basketball court, what was it like to be one of his assistants as you were part of the 2001 state championship team?
Can I take a couple steps back? I don't want to spend a lot of time, but it goes all the way back from when Scoogie was coaching the girls and I was playing for the boys. And he said to me, he said, if I ever get a head coaching job, I'm going to make you my assistant. Because he liked the way I coached, liked the way I played, he liked the way I was a leader on the floor. So when he switched over to the boys, you know what I mean? And I ended up playing for him. He was assistant coach then when I played. And then when I went to Westchester, my freshman year, I didn't struggle, but I just felt like I needed somebody, right? And my coach and Scoogie had a good relationship. And I said to the coach, I said, hey, why don't you just bring Scoogie over for me? And Scoogie was the assistant coach. He was the first black basketball assistant coach over at Westchester University. So we go back further than that. It went from like a mentor father to a brotherhood. So, I mean, man, Scoogie got so many memories, man. And just coaching with him, like, you know, Scoogie is a little, Scoogie could be Scoogie. My way. And the first couple of years, I was assistant, and it was his way. Even though they might have been my kids I had for years ago, as he got older, he understood. You're going to get more out of them than your kids. You had them for 4 or 5 years. And he prayed on it, and he just would, hey, what you think we should do? And he opened up the door. I said, Scoogie, I'm not trying to steal your job. Scoogie. When we win the state championship, it ain't going to say Ricky Hicks is head coach. It's all about you, bro. I just want to help as much as I can. And we laugh about it all the time. Yeah, it was great. It was great being his assistant. Great.
So what would you say is that you enjoyed most about that state championship team?
That state championship team is that the fact that everybody knew their role. Everybody understood what we needed them to do. If you go down the history of coastal basketball, I wouldn't even say that was one of the top, since one of the top 5 teams, as far as, like, you know what I mean, top 5 teams. But mentally and playing together and knowing how to play, it was the number 1 team. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the most skilled. You just got to be able to play the right way and do the right stuff. And that team definitely did it, man. Guys, you got 2 guys underneath the boards. They didn't even want to shoot. They just wanted to bang people. You know what I mean? This is my job. You know what I mean? We had Reese. They just wanted to run the show, make all the plays. When it was time to make baskets. We had John Allen. When it was time to get a bucket, We lost Chris White in the semifinals, and Tyree Brickett stepped in. Hey, no problem. We ready. And we probably beat one of the best high school teams in Pennsylvania. That team Shenley that was the best team we played in since I've been in high school. That Shenley team.
Wow.
It was good, and we beat them in the finals.
And you made an excellent point where sometimes teams might be more talented, but they don't necessarily have the best chemistry.
Yes.
And I've coached and been on teams that have been very talented, but we didn't accomplish nearly as much than those teams that had better chemistry. So I definitely feel what you're saying. Now, I'm asking Mr. Grub to get one question ready.
Man,
A question ready.
All night.
A question. But
you can't limit greatness, Rev.
I'm not limiting greatness. I'm limiting the English language on what a question is. That's what I'm doing. But listen, here's the question, Mr. Ricky Hicks. You coached John Allen, and now you're coaching with John Allen. Tell us about the experience of coaching him and now coaching with him.
He the only probably maybe one or two guys that would have made me come back to coach at Coastville. So that right there tells you special. Like when I say special, it ain't nothing that I asked this guy to do that he didn't do. You know, it got to a point where he was calling me like, yo, can we go work on my left hand pull up? Yo, can we go do this? Can we go do that? And I couldn't say no. So when you see a kid work that hard to get the program or to win a state championship, and then he gets the job and he comes to you and say, Coach, I need you. I know, Coach. I know everything. I need you. And I said, give me a little bit to think about this. You know what I mean? And, you know, him being who he is, me being who I am, I said, you know what, John, I'll do it for you. And that's because who he was. Anybody else, they've been asking me, come in and can you come and do this? Can you? And I was just wanted to stay away from it. Gotcha. I ran away from coastal basketball for a little bit. Even my little guys with Reese and Pre, they was my guys. And it's like, can you come? I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out there and do it at that time. It was so much.
So Mr. Grub, since you already said we'll go over. And you alluded to the fact that you struggled with coming back to coaching basketball. I think for those who don't know, you were the head coach at one point in time.
Yes.
So if you want to, share the struggle that you had with coming back to Coatesville as an assistant from your experience being the head coach. Share what you want to share.
I mean, when I say struggle, it was just, you know, anything I do, I compete at. You know what I'm saying? And some of the people that supposedly was your friend, or some of the people that was in administration that was your friend, wasn't like friends no more to a certain point. And before I go through all that, I could have went anywhere I wanted. So when I left Coastal, I went right to Kutztown. You know what I mean? It ain't like I didn't have no place to go, but it kind of messed me up a little bit mentally because that Westchester job was open. I didn't even want to be a head coach at that point. Wow. That's how beat up I was. That's just leaving it. I was beat up.
So how did you heal from that?
I went to a place where I know I was gonna be comfortable. I went to a place where I had some kids that I already knew was there, and getting right back in the same road I did for Skoogie, which I love. People look at the head coach like it's the key. It is the key because you get all the when you win. But the assistant coach, if you ain't got good assistant coaches, the head coach ain't nothing.
Facts. And you're definitely telling the truth. I had the chance to be the lead assistant coach on 2 state championship teams in Georgia. So assistant coaches help the head coach see stuff that they can't see because
they worry about everything but the little teeny intangibles.
And then also kind of do the management on the bench, because sometimes you got to motivate the players who have just been taken out for whatever reason. And sometimes you can lose kids during the course of the game if you don't have somebody who can speak life to them while they're on the bench. I call
that good cop, bad cop.
For sure.
If I come off the bench, coaches ring me. 3 assistant coaches didn't ring me. I'm gonna sit on the bench and say, man, I don't even think I want to get back in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you got beat up by everybody.
Right.
You got coach going to tell you what he going to tell you. Assistant coach going to tell you. And one coach will be, look, man, we've been doing this all week. You know you ain't doing right. Come on, man. You got to get back out there and do what we've been doing all week at practice. And then kid, it registered. You know what? You right, coach. It's my fault. But when you're getting beat up by 4 coaches, you're like, come on, go back in.
We can call that basketball mental abuse right there. All right, I got one more question, then I'm hoping Mr. Grub got a question for you. And I'm going to go to his era of basketball. What was it like being the personal trainer of Richard Rip Hamilton? And what did it do for you to see Rip win not only an NCAA championship at UConn, but also an NBA championship with the Detroit Pistons, and you had a hand in his development?
You know, people always ask me, like, you train Rip. Like, even when I go where I'm at, Rip talks so highly of you. He always say, you was the only guy who ever trained me. And, you know, I can remember leaving UConn after he won the championship, and 4 other trainers walking up to him and saying, hey, Rip, if you need a trainer, hey, I can help you. I got you, or whatever. And he's like, no, I got my guy. If it ain't broke, ain't no need of fixing it. And just that loyalty right there that he showed me, because he could have went and got everybody, everybody else everybody was training with. He said, nah, this guy didn't show me this much. He got more to show me. And a true story, that 1 year, I said 1 year after we won the championship, I said, Rip, this is going to be the year we're going to work on the 3-pointer. All right, we know they keep talking about you can't shoot the 3, you can't, you know, you're just a mid-range shooter. I said, oh, we done proved that you're a killer from there. We're going to work on the 3-point shot. And we worked on it all summer. A little bit more bend in the legs, a little bit more foul through up high. And Rip led the league in 3-point shooting at 44%. That's when he was in the 3-point contest. But that gave me some clarification, like, yo, whatever we want to work on, we can do it. And that was huge for me.
Gotcha.
So, Ricky, I'm trying to read that picture or that plaque that's behind you, and I see it says a great coach. I can't make it out. What does that say, Ricky?
It says a great coach can change a game. A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. Then it says, thank you, Coach Hicks, for your passion and your dedication. Pretty much. We appreciate you.
Who was that from, Ricky?
One of the parents. A couple I was training some kids and working with some kids, mentoring them. And one of the parents, you know, going I don't know if it was my birthday or if it was Father's Day. And the kids that I was dealing with didn't have a father. And I was talking to them, mentoring them, hey, XYZ. And they gave me that. That was huge.
Wow. I love the fact that I couldn't make it out, but I know it was something important. And I'm glad you were able to read it to us, because that just goes along with what we were talking about earlier. You know, just appreciation, man, for people. And, you know, there's going to be people out there. There's people out there that don't look for no flowers, man. They don't look for no recognition. But sometimes somebody got to make them stand up and say, hey, you know, this guy did this. You know, this guy did that. And I think, like Rev said, man, I might be a motivational speaker. I don't know, man. You know, when I was doing AAU, man, and we would be blowing teams out, I come to the locker room at halftime, I say, you know, we got the 1 foot on the net. God, get them 2 feet, right? What you gonna do with the second foot? Put it on their net. Yeah, we go out there. See, that's what I do. You know, you're more of the calm, you know, got things in control kind of guy.
Been doing it too long, man. I've been doing it long enough. So, you know, over and over again, man.
See, Red, check this out. I don't have no rhyme or reason to what I'm asking. All I know is that I'm going to get something out of him.
All right. You just explained to everybody you don't have the questions in front of you. You freestyle it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But we appreciate you motivating and getting what you wanted out of bro Ricky. And I'm gonna go back. Is he doing are you doing the mannequin challenge? Are you really?
Yeah, I ain't freeze up.
I didn't know if you were doing the mannequin challenge. I was like, man, did he get frozen? But hey, man,
I was starting to hurt.
You might have a future as a mannequin. You did that really well. Nobody knew that you.
Ricky can still run circles around both of us at the same time. I guarantee you.
I'm sure, because I don't even try to run anymore. I do all my cardio in the pool now. So I don't doubt that one bit. All right, let's transition real quickly. We do a thing called Red Raiders Rapid Fire. You might have heard us do it with Kisha. We didn't prepare you for this. We just want you to give us 1 to 3 words. When I share something with you, I want you to share what first comes to your mind, as long as it's clean, for this is a family show. If you go over 3 words, I'm going to have to hit the mute button. It's this Red Raiders Rapid Fire. So the first 1 to 3 words that comes to your mind. You ready for it?
Yes, sir.
Here it is. Oak Street.
Love.
School.
Big brother.
Rip.
Great person, great friend.
I'll let you go with the extra word on that. All right. Ash Park.
Memories.
The center.
Like basketball court.
Whatever comes to you.
You said center because it's the community center and it's the basketball court.
Community center.
Community center.
Memories.
Your personal journey.
Not over.
Kershey.
Legend.
Quindenfield.
Say it, man.
Different type of coach.
Delaney.
Great motivator.
Dan Driscoll.
Great man.
Last but not least, Deke.
Great brother.
That's dope. We appreciate you participating in that Raiders Rapid Fire. I can tell we had you thinking a little bit, and probably you were trying to find the right words to say, and we truly appreciate you.
You want to say the right words because when you can't take words back.
Exactly.
You can't take that time you got more people in trouble than anything in the world.
Well, I appreciate you being thoughtful. And last thing, let's leave you on this. Your team is doing well. What are your expectations for the rest of the season for the Coatesville boys basketball team?
District champs, state champs.
Yes.
And okay, that's a good, succinct answer. What makes you think they're championship material?
We got a little bit of everything. We got speed, we got shooters, we got size. Got great coaches.
It's a great formula.
At that point, what more do you need? I mean, every now and then we got to be a little tough on the kids. Every now and then the kids got to bow down and listen to what we got to say, but got to be disciplined when it's time to be disciplined. I mean, if you look at our, we possibly could be undefeated right now. But it's good to get some hiccups in the room. You know what I mean? If I felt like we should have won the state championship with that last year's team, I feel much greater about this team.
I would concur because as a basketball aficionado myself, I think your team is more rounded this year. You have 2 solid guards with Folks and Nasir. You got a shooter and Colton. You got a utility man in Armand. You got a big man in Larry, and you got some depth. You got some utility people coming off the bench, and I think y'all are you're more talented and deeper this year than you were last year.
And most of that, and the biggest thing is they like playing with each other. That's you can have all that. If they don't like playing with each other, or they get selfish, or it messes up everything. The fact that these guys like each other, you know what I mean? I always tell people, I say, yo, we got a ninth grader that we got guys that been playing for 2 years embracing him.
Yeah.
Hey, we need him. Come on, we gonna bring him. And a lot of guys ain't looking at ninth graders like, he ain't gonna outshine me. Like something.
Yeah.
No, these guys ain't like that.
And that speaks volumes to your team, because a lot of
from day one.
And a lot of teams would be very jealous at the attention that Colton is getting. So I appreciate you highlighting that. And we're looking forward to a wonderful season. We'll be at your game tomorrow to cover the game. But can we do this? Seville, can y'all show some love to your own Coatesville legend as a player and coach, Coach Ricky Hicks? And we'll definitely have you back, Coach.
Thank you.
We look forward to talking.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. All right. What a great interview. Obviously, we got to get you to do the documentary, because it seems like you got story after story after story. Can I keep going on? After story after story.
Listen, you are on to something. I didn't really think about it, but I already been thinking about it. But I ain't thinking about it tonight, but I've been thinking about it. But you're on to something, Rev. We got something going on here. Hey.
Seriously, all jokes aside, you need to put pen to paper, because Ricky Hicks has done this on the court as a coach for decades. And therefore, you have a lot of material. You have personal experiences. You know the people whose lives he's impacted, starting with you. And he's definitely, from what I gather, one of the unsung heroes of Coatesville.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And therefore, I'm gonna put the onus on you to get it done. I don't want to hear no excuses. I'm gonna hold you accountable to make sure that the story is told about Coach Ricky Hicks, especially since you took 1/4 of the interview time talking about.
Hey, Rev, check this out, right? You know we still live, right?
I know it. And that's why I'm putting on this on you. I'm putting on this on you. All right, here it is.
I appreciate you, Rev.
Ricky Middleton, 2 Seville legends, Sister Sylvia Harris. Another great interview. Sister Warren J, Sister Kisha Middleton's mother, very good interview. Deshauna Chester showing some love. Dior Kennedy, one of his former players. And we had a great interview with Dior the other week. All right, let's transition. Enough with the interviews. They've been great, very impactful. We got a few minutes left. We try to end at 8 o'clock. Let's talk about the jersey that you're wearing. Your team goes to the NFC Championship. They beat the brakes off the Washington Commanders. The Commanders almost handed them the NFC Championship with 4 turnovers. So tell us about the game on yesterday. What were your thoughts?
How dare you say they handed us anything? Rev, we took it. We beat them like they stole something. We asked for the receipt before they walked off the field like it was in Walmart. Come on, Rev. Put some respect on my team's name. The EAGLES. When you go to sleep tonight, your subconscious is going to have you singing the song. The Fly, Eagles Fly. On the road to victory. Drink your water because you're sick of hearing me. Rev, let me tell you something. Are we talking about what's going to happen in 2 weeks this week, or are we going to wait till next week? You can answer.
You put me to sleep, and I'm trying to stay awake for the rest of the show. You put me to sleep, and I'm trying to stay awake because
I'm not deflecting.
Even though I'm a preacher, I do listen to secular music before. I do listen to secular music from time to time. And this song was just dropped in my spirit. I heard it all before. I heard it all before 2 years ago. That's when I first No, I've been in Coachville for a full year. Everybody's excited. They were telling me what they were going to do to my Chiefs. And here I am, 23, 24, now 25. Ask me what is the consistent theme that's gone on since 23, 24, and 25. Ask me, Mr. Grub.
Rev, what is the consistent
No. Go ahead.
Mr. Rev.
Yes, sir.
What is the consistent thing that you have been witnessing since 1995?
Not 1995. 2023, 2024.
I messed it up because it makes no sense to me, man.
Here it is. It doesn't make any sense because you know where I'm going with it, because it all started with your team. The consistent thing that has taken place, Chiefs won in 23, Chiefs won in 24, and they're about to win in 2025. And it started with your team that the Chiefs are supposed to be very scared of. And none of those guys who are mainstays on your team are champions. The team won a championship, but how many rings does Jalen Hurts have? None. How many rings does Saquon Barkley have? None. A.J. Brown? None. Smith? None. Jordan Davis? None. Jalen Carter? None. And I like those boys that I just named at the end because at least y'all had the understanding you got to get some Georgia boys on the team. But listen, we're going to talk facts and not feelings when we talk about the game next week. I want you to be prepared to talk facts and not feelings because you are talking to somebody who talks facts. You are talking to somebody whose team has not been in the championship in 2023 and skipped over to 2025 like your team. My team was at the dance last year, 2023. They were at the dance in 2021. I mean, we are consistent people in the AFC Championship. Matter of fact, they might as well call the Super Bowl after this year.
Patriots. That's what you are.
You want to know what they should call the Super Bowl this year or after this year? The Kansas City Chiefs Invitation. That's what they should call it. So we're not going to waste viewers. We're not going to waste the viewers' viewership talking about the Chiefs are scared and what the Eagles are going to do. We're going to put facts in place. Matter of fact, I'm going to have you do some homework. We're going to talk about next week. Who's the better coach? Who has the better offense? Who has the better defense? We're not going to talk feelings. We're going to talk facts. Let the church say, facts over feelings. That's what we're going to talk.
Do a 5-minute soliloquy about your feelings about the birds, our birds. Like I told you the last week, man, you cannot come in my town because you still new. You can't come in my town and talk like that about my team, man.
What? Hold on.
No.
See, there we go. The football word has not resonated with you yet. We said we're going to talk facts, not feelings. The fact is, were the Eagles missing in last year's Super Bowl? That's a fact. That's not feeling.
The other teams,
right?
So were 29 other teams.
So was I talking about them or was I telling the truth about them? Was I talking about the Chiefs or telling the truth about the Chiefs that they were in the Super Bowl in 23, 24, and now 25? Is that a fact or feeling?
Well, good for them.
All right, so it was a fact. Since you don't want to say so again, I talk facts. You talk feelings.
That they were
next week, I'm giving you a week ahead because I don't even want to talk about the game because all I'm going to talk about is my team's going to win and you have no facts to back that up. So I want you to spend a week going into the lab, studying some stats, looking even at some film on why you feel your team is going to win. Because I want to hear feelings. I want to hear facts. Somebody said, you are a Mahomes
I'll give you
fan.
a fact right now. I'll give you a fact right now.
Stephen Washington. It doesn't matter. I am a Mahomes fan. And I was a Mahomes fan before the three-peat. So it doesn't matter. Get out your feelings.
Listen.
I come to Coatesville being a Mahomes fan. I don't regret it. Matter of fact, I'll tell you how I became a Mahomes fan. Since you want to go there, brother Stephen Washington, it's because of your Chester County guy, Matt Ryan, who's from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, who stole my Falcons' joy. And that's how I became a Patrick Mahomes fan, because your guy in Chester County is nothing but a mediocre quarterback, and I was not going to get on the Atlanta Falcons bandwagon cheering for a mediocre quarterback.
Rev. You're getting your feelings now.
Oh, I'm giving you facts about how I became a Chiefs fan.
But that's your feelings.
Since he went there, I'll go there for him. So
right.
that's besides the fact. We're going to talk facts and not feelings when we give commentary next week. We're going to break down the Super Bowl. That's what we're going to do next week. Can you handle it?
I got to go get my pillow because I'm going to take a nap.
So that means you're not ready to bring the facts next week.
I'm trying to give you facts, Rev.
Church service Sunday, February 9th. You don't want to
hear the facts. You don't want to hear the truth. You know why?
What's the truth? What's the truth?
The truth is this. The Eagles are going to open up a can of communion crackers on y'all and break them, eat them, devour them. It's over. It's over.
And what is the fact that you have to back that up?
We have a better defense.
You have an inexperienced Super Bowl defense.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. We have a seasoned defense. We done played, what we on, 8, 19, 20 games?
I said Super Bowl, not regular season. I said Super Bowl.
Game, Rev. Everybody going to have the butterflies. Everybody, even your buddy Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's going to get scared.
Hold on, time out.
You can't.
Do you recognize? Hold on.
We had the better defense.
How many times? Now, when you start talking about just a regular game, Patrick Mahomes can believe that. He could come to it like that, because this will be his. Let me count him. This will not be his first Super Bowl. Won't be his second Super Bowl. It won't even be his third Super Bowl. It won't even be his fourth Super Bowl. It will be his fifth Super Bowl in 7 years.
So how many rings does he have altogether right now? Right now.
1, 2, 3, about to be 4. Now,
3 out of 5, right?
How many? Now you're talking about just another game.
He's able to be beaten. This is a fact. Patrick Mahomes is able to be beaten in that Super Bowl game, right? That's a fact.
And you want to know what else is a fact? You want to know what else is a fact? He has beaten the Eagles to win one of his Super Bowls. He has beaten Jalen Hurts in a Super Bowl. He has beaten Nick Sirianni in a Super Bowl. That's a fact. And that's why we're about to go to have a three-peat, because you all helped us start the beginning of the three-peat.
Let me check my blood pressure, man. Let me check my blood pressure.
Like Kumo D, I told y'all I do listen to secular music. And there was a rapper back in our day called Kumo D who used to say, "How you like me now?"
No, he said, "I go to work."
No, he said, "How you like me now," too. Yeah.
And what happened to him?
It don't matter.
Jay crushed him.
So here it is, bro. Stephen Watson, win your team choke.
Your Kansas City Chiefs are the Kumo D's, and the Philadelphia Eagles are the LL Cool J's. One of the greatest rappers that ever lived. You know why? Because he's bad. The Eagles are bad, as in good.
Okay. Like I said, next week bring the facts to support it. And bro, Stevenson, you don't know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna educate you. I'm gonna educate you. No. Let me. Since I want to interact with the fan because he's trying to come at me, and I love it. And see, I'm not gonna talk feelings. I'm gonna talk facts. Mr. Stephen Washington, I did not jump ship because of the debacle in the Super Bowl. I've been doing sports talk for 5 years, 6 years now. The reason why I jumped ship is because I don't support bad management. On another sports talk show that I do called the Red and Red Sports Show, that's on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock on the Red and Red Sports Show page, I encourage the Falcons not to sign Matt Ryan. And they messed around and signed Matt Ryan to the highest paid contract in the NFL. And guess what happened? The Falcons haven't been to the playoffs since they signed that man to a contract. So I jumped ship because of poor management. So if you're going to come at me, get the facts rather than spilling your own fiction. All right? So I'm glad I can educate you on how I became a Kansas City Chiefs fan because I didn't jump ship because of the 28-3 debacle. I didn't even jump ship when they lost to the Eagles in the first round the following year when the Eagles won the championship. I jumped ship because I knew Matt Ryan couldn't live up to the contract. And he proved me right. And the Falcons have not been to the playoffs since they signed him to the bad contract. So I'm glad I can educate you.
You got in your feelings because of bad management. You know how many times, and you switched teams because of that? You know how many times us Eagle fans could have just jumped to another team because
so can I
we had bad management or bad
can I educate you? Can I educate you? And let me educate Brother Washington. Unlike you, I have not lived in one place all my life. Okay? I lived in Coatesville very early years of my life. That's why I became a Sixers fan. Very first team I ever cheered for. Then I lived in New York for 9 years. I was a Mets fan and a Jets fan. I lived in Atlanta for 32 years and I became a Falcons fan. So my loyalty wavers because I have different experiences. I was not born and bred in one place like some of you are. So this is how my fandom could shift because I've lived in different places.
Well, Rev, listen, you may have lived in different places, and I didn't live my whole life in Coatesville, just for the record. I spent 15 years outside of Coatesville. But I
was it in Pennsylvania? Was it in Pennsylvania?
It's Pennsylvania, but
okay. So that's why you can still bleed green.
My point is this, Rev. Either you have a team that you're loyal to, or you can move to California.
It doesn't always work like that because when I was a kid, I was a Mets fan. And then I moved to Atlanta in my teenage years, and I witnessed the Atlanta Braves, who used to be trash, go to worst to first. So sometimes you become a fan of your environment. That happens when you're kids. Now, if I was an adult and I grew up all my years as one fan and stayed there, that's one thing. But that's not my story. But I'm not going, but let's check here. On today, this is going to be the last time I explain to anybody why I root for the Chiefs.
No,
the bottom line is, y'all are just mad because my team, the Chiefs, are working on a three-peat, and y'all are trying to win just my team, if they win this year, will have 3 times as many championships in 3 years than your franchise has in its history.
It don't matter. We talking about loyalty.
Hey.
We talking about loyalty.
I'm loyal. I'm loyal. Let's get out.
So your loyalty is wavered easily.
I'm loyal to God and Jesus Christ. That's where my loyalty lies. I'm loyal to Sylvia Harris. I'm loyal to Michelle Harris. That's where my primary loyalties lie. When it comes to sports, I don't have to be loyal. I'm gonna use common sense.
You know what they call that, Rev?
What's that?
Fair weather fan.
Call me whatever, but call me champion as well. No matter what you or Steven got to say.
I can't put you in the cowboy category, but you
Hey.
get close.
Hey, guess what? When you come to church on February 9th, you know what jersey you're going to see in the pulpit?
I don't know. It could be Atlanta Falcons or Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know, man.
Really? Yeah.
I'm laughing at Steve.
Hey, I'm glad Steven getting a kick out of it.
Wow.
But he should know there's nothing that Mr. Grub or Steven will say that will move me. But guess what? We're not going to make the focus on my fandom. We're going to make the focus on what's going to happen on the field. That's why we have a show. But nevertheless,
next week.
We're going to talk about that next week. And let's move forward real quickly. I appreciate Steven for his little jokes and jabs. I can take it.
Blood pressure up.
It's all good. All right, y'all know we show love real quickly as we get ready to put a bow on this show. We show love to Deacon Scoogie Smith, Coach Scoogie Smith, for others. And we have a Scoogism for the week.
Yes.
And Mr. Grub showed it. He gave me one earlier today. And it was simply this. I love you, and there is nothing you can do about it. I'm going to put a still screen on that so we can meditate on that. What does that mean to you, brother, Mr. Grub? And how did that apply to you and your relationship with Coach Scoogie?
Well, you know, one thing is that when he said it, or he used to say it, earlier when I was younger, I really didn't understand. I knew he said, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. But when you become an adult and you start looking at things in hindsight, kind of, he was basically saying, look, I love you unconditionally, no matter what. And no matter what you say or what you do, you can't change that. And that was just the type of person that man was, man. And it will never get old, Rev. And that's why I love the fact that we didn't really base the show on Scug, but it became a base of the show. Because if you notice, we've done 4 shows now. And every single one of the guests had some type of relationship with Scoogie. Or he touched their souls or touched their minds, or he did something. And I wanted to ask Ricky, did he ever feel like he had a special relationship with Scug? And he was the only one, because he mentioned him as a big brother.
Yeah.
You know? I just wonder if he ever felt that way, and then come to find out that he touched so many people in that way. You weren't the only one. You know, and it's just amazing. But yeah, that's what it means to me. That's what I got out of it. That I love you, and there's not anything that you can do about it. Was basically saying, I love you regardless. I love you unconditionally. And I'll do anything for you.
One of the things I will add is for many men, in particular young men, they've never had a male figure to say I love you.
Yeah, many of them.
You know, I was blessed to have a father who was very instrumental in my life. He didn't necessarily say I love you all the time, but he definitely showed me love.
Yeah.
And I knew what love felt like because of his demonstration. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I respected about Deacon / Coach Scoogie was the fact that he was a male, very much a male, if you catch my drift.
Yes.
Who didn't mind verbally expressing his love to another young man or to another male. Matter of fact, one of the things that touched me was that there was a male who was an older male after Deacon Scoogie passed, who said he was one of the first males that told him that they love him. And that was very touching. And I'll conclude by saying this. we would see each other at church. Sometimes we would finish a meeting or finish an event at the church, and he would say, I love you. And I'll say, I love you too. And he would always have the last word where he would say, I love you more.
Yes.
And I would never try to compete because I knew he was going to end it on the higher love. And oftentimes, it's not the love that you say, it's the love that you show. And one of the ways that Deacon / Coach Scoogie showed a person love, he was a giver. And he loved people by giving them things. He would be the person, as you mentioned before, he would give you the shirt off his back. And one of the things that I truly appreciate is not just him verbalizing love, but demonstrating love. And from a scriptural standpoint, scripture says God is love. And when he loved you, he was showing the God in him that truly loved you as God would want you to be loved. So I appreciate you sharing that Skoogieism on today. And you all know as we conclude that we're all about sports.
I'm sorry, Rev. I'm sorry. Can I just interrupt you for a second? I'm sorry. But you just said that someone told you that Skoog was the first male. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, oh, he's the first one that told me, a male that told, because my grandfather, of course, my father didn't. Me and my brother just start telling each other, like after my mom died a few years ago, verbally, I love you. So when I'm sitting here, man, it really hit me. Like fact, he was the first male. My grandfather, even though I looked at my grandfather's great-grandfather, I've never heard that. And I've said to my kids, I made it a purpose, my first son, my oldest son, Junior, when he was a kid, and I still tell him, I love you, I love you, I love you. All my kids, but my sons, and my youngest son right now, CJ, at 6 years old, I love you. I'll pick you up, I love you. I put you on the bus, I love you. You come home, I love you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, some things you do because it wasn't done for you.
Yeah.
And you want to break the cycle. Yeah. But you saying that about Skoog, it just made me realize, man, that, yeah, that's deep, man. That's just deep.
Yeah. And that's important for males, not only to be told that they are loved by mothers or female figures, but especially by men. That goes a long way. And I can't tell you how much the love that my father had for me touched my life and made me who I am today. So I would just encourage anybody who, especially as a young male, son, grandson, make sure you align them up with male figures who have their best interests involved and who will love on them, maybe verbally, but also more importantly, by way of demonstration.
Yes.
Let me just conclude by this. We try to share nothing but sports interviews, but we also try to provide a touch of Christ. And this scripture I want to leave you all on, as I'm a real Rev, even though I refer to myself as sports Rev. I'm pastor of First Baptist Church, a pastor in Coatesville. And I want to leave you with this thought. The scripture, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And many of you all know the Lord gave me the vision to create this network, also to create the show. And you have to have courage to jump out there and do certain things. Since I've been in Coatesville, I've come across many people who are very gifted, very talented, but sometimes the gifts and talents are not accompanied with courage, but rather they are met with fear. Fear to jump out there and start that business. Fear to pursue a particular career or to take a certain path. And understand, if God gave you something, a gift, a talent, a vision, then it's on you to develop the faith and the courage to walk by faith and not by sight, and not allow fear to cripple you. Fear is what's holding some people back from being the best you that you can be. Fear is holding some people back from making the money that they can make. Fear is stopping some people from developing the relationships that they need to develop in order to become who God wants you to be. So I pray that somebody replaces fear with courage, knowing that God never gave you fear in the first place, but he's given you power, the courage, love, the ability and the skill and the sound mind, the wisdom to do what he's assigned for you to do in your life. So I hope that encouraged somebody to step out there, stop being fearful, but use the power, love, and the sound mind that God has given us. Well, Mr. Grub, that concludes show number 4. We went over a little bit our time, but it was time well spent. Thank you so much for lining up our interview with Coach Ricky Hicks. We want to thank Kisha Middleton and Ricky Hicks for joining us on today. We want to thank the Coatesville community for embracing this show, our 4th show. And please, if you don't mind, like and share and let somebody know about the 610 Seville Sports Network and the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Mr. Grubb, do you have a closing word?
Yes, usually I would say something off the cuff, but Rev, I'm going to tell you I appreciate you and I love you, brother.
I love you too, bro. And I look forward to the great things that God has in store, not only for you, not only for myself, but for this network and for this show, for us stepping out on faith, not swallowing, but letting go fear and using the power, love, and the sound mind that God has given us to be a blessing to the Coatesville community through this sports show and through the network. We would be remiss if we didn't give Sister Kim, our network coordinator, some love. Thank you for all the stuff that she does behind the scenes and the graphics that she puts forth on the network page. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Join us next week. Same Facebook page, same YouTube channel for show number 5 of the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Peace and love, everybody, and thank you for your time. We're out of here. Yeah, go Birds.